Hello. It's live. Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming in. I'm so glad you're here. We're going to try something different as we're trying because since I don't do music, can you all hear me okay? Lynette, can you hear me okay? Am I on? Hello, hello. Can you hear me? Somebody tell me if you can hear me or not. Thank you. Hi, Poetic. It's good to see you. We're going to start the lives a little different just while we're waiting for people to come in. I don't play music, but good. You can hear me. Good. I'm going to read my latest blog, and I don't know if I'll read it all. We'll just see how it goes. We'll just see how this goes. But I posted one today called "Why I'm No Longer Recommending Any Church Support Groups." Why trust without transparency is no longer acceptable. This is not going to be the most popular writing I've ever done, but after so many years in the deconstructing spaces, this is something I'm really comfortable with, that I will no longer recommend any church support group unless there's some kind of transparency and accountability for how they're vetting their leaders, their facilitators of these thank you. Hi, Shenanigans. Of these groups, because the harm that has been caused is insurmountable. And the stories that we hear all the time is very concerning. I forgot to take my picture. I'll have to do it later, okay? It's good to see you. Thank you for being here. All right. I said, I'll pause every once in a while and see what's happening with, I think it's really interesting how these lives just get, I have such a governor on my account. It's crazy. We got 9 people in here. I love it. But I love all you for being here. I'm glad you're here. It's just crazy. Like, TikTok, what are you doing? Part of me wants to say to TikTok, you know what, your time's limited. Can you just let us have some fun like it's 2020? Can you just go back and pretend like it's 2020? Hi, Annie. Hi, Plumbing Bird. Oh, good. Tell me what you think about it. That's Reza Aslan, right, Allison? I think it is. Yeah, tell me what you think about it. I got to clean these glasses. Now, I can't see anything. So if you're talking about me, there's nothing I can do about it. I forgot to clean my glasses before I came on. So we're going to get that done. All right. Yeah, it's eye-opening. It was one of my favorite books. There's a couple. I talk about that one, Resurrecting Jesus. How about how Jesus became God? Christianity Must Change or Die, which I really do believe there's going to be a day of reckoning. I think you're going to see quite a few changes. I think we're coming to a point where we will see such pressure on the churches and their assets to secularize. And by that I mean become more community focused, so that we have more of a building that's open 24/7 and is more accessible for the needs of the humanity. I think you'll start to see such pressure that will be one of the ways that church will change over the years. I think humanity is growing beyond the reverence of this anthropomorphized God. I just think that things will change. So how about letting Qatar build an Air Force base in Ohio? What have I missed? Shenanigans. I haven't seen anything about that. I haven't been online much today other than writing and preparing for this live. And then, by the way, for those of you, gosh, it's already 2:37. Lynette, what was I thinking? I'm not going to get any of this done. I was really hoping to get here a lot sooner. In about 15 minutes, I'm going to be going live over on Substack, and I'm not sure how much you're going to be able to hear it. I'm still going to stay live here, so you'll be able to hear what I'm saying, but I don't know if you'll be able to hear the other person, because I don't have the tech savviness to be able to link that in. So I think what I wanted, but I want to see if this works. Maybe you'll find this interesting, some of the questions that she's going to be asking me. So if you haven't followed Malynda Hale, she's here on TikTok, and she's also over on Substack, and she is the president of the board of directors for the New Evangelicals. So she's very excited about that role, and I have worked with her in the past. When last year she was part of the facilitators who put together the Christians for Kamala, and so anyway, she's going to interview me today. So if you want to see the whole interview, you can head over to Substack, or you can at least hear my part and I'll try to repeat the question. She knows I'm still going to be going live on TikTok to entice you to join the live. So let's see how this goes. Someone's asking me, Amy says they're not building an Air Force Base. Keg's breath. I love that. He misspoke. Kyle said, hi, Kyle. I'm glad you're here again today. Have I met Reverend Dr. You're talking about Reverend Dr. William Barber of Moral Mondays and I think the People's Movement? No, I haven't had the honor. Now, I was ordained in a church that he speaks at regularly in New York City called Riverside Church. So he has a really, really strong history with that church, and that was the closest thing to proximity. I hope someday that our paths cross, and I get the chance to work with and work for, on behalf of, volunteer for, or do something with him. But I have not met him personally. I listen to him quite often. He too is on Substack, and a lot of his videos and his teachings are over there. So if you haven't found him there, please do. I think he might be here as well. I can't remember. So, all right. So I've got a few minutes. So there's two things I was going to do. So I've already completely wiped out my agenda for today, because I was going to read my blog, but I don't really have a lot of time, and it would probably take me about 10 minutes to read it. But I also wanted to talk. Someone asked me the other day about the Purple Revolution. And are there people here who are curious about the Purple Revolution? I think the movement kind of started here on TikTok, and it's really been about what is it? Shenanigans. So the best I can tell, and I'm still learning about it, but the best I can tell, and I've got notes here, so if you see me look at them, that's what I'm looking at. But if there's anybody here who knows about it, please let me know. Thank you for sharing the live. Those are important. The hearts are important. I appreciate that. It's kind of a movement that started here by a couple of people who identify as former MAGA. And one person has a substantial account of over 100,000 followers. The other one's not so much. And the person who holds the username at Purple Revolution 2025 seems to be the primary brainchild, if you will, of this movement. But there seems to be some discourse or disagreement around the ideology or the framework for how this organization is started. Now, if this is something that y'all don't want to talk about, but I don't see any questions here except for about Shenanigans asking me about the Purple Movement, I'm happy to talk about this. We don't have, where are we? 74 people. Yay! That's awesome. Thank you, TikTok, for pushing it out. I appreciate that. I just think it's always funny when I see that. I've said something, I've done something. What have I done? They don't like my skeleton earrings. I only get to wear them 1 month a year. I guess I could wear whatever I want, right? What's the rules around skeleton earrings? Are there any? There are not. We no longer care, do we? Are you just now getting here? Are you just now getting here, Rev Carla Shop? Where have you been? I've been talking all about you. You wear what you want. Thank you. Brooke says, I saw someone share that the Purple Movement is just accepting people who fundamentally are racist. Well, you could talk about helping with deconstruction in church. Yeah, we had a live on Wednesday, and we went deep. We went deep talking about that, Lisa, and we certainly have enough time to go. If you have a specific question, we can talk about that. My latest blog that I just posted today is called "I'm no longer recommending any church support groups, and this is the reason why." Oh, it's okay, Lisa. And that's a lot of what we do. We do not care club here. Yay, that's right. What was I thinking? I can wear these. I'm going to wear them at Christmas. I might try to figure out a way to put a Santa hat on him, and maybe I can glue a baby Jesus. I might be a little sassy today, a little salty. So a Santa hat and glue baby Jesus to his arms. What do you think? Lisa said, Dr. P&W says hello. I said hello to you. You didn't say hello. The problem with the purple movement is that the movement wants the blue to move to the red. I can see that. I can see where people also conclude hot glue is my friend. This could get interesting, couldn't it? Yeah. Now, again, the first thing I did, which is I will probably spend more time this weekend looking at some of the creators who are advocating for the purple revolution. But the first thing I did, I went to Black women. What are they saying about it? Any movement like this, what's being said about it? Lisa, you noticed. No, I just made it. You're the first. You win. I wondered if anybody was going to say anything. Thank you. You noticed. You win. You're sweet. Thank you. You made my day. I wanted to hear what Black women had to say about this, and and I'm not speaking on behalf of Black women, and the Black people who have spoken about critically of it and have concerns for it. And there have been many Black people who've made so much content that's giving them ideas on how to construct it and how to create a framework that actually could work, but not in its original form. Because right now they're not sharing a lot about their ideology. Just saying that you're disappointed in the Trump that was elected isn't the Trump that you elected, isn't enough for people to join a movement. So somewhere between the fact that the urgency inside this country and the fact that somebody's got to get going and somebody's got to do something, and a movement that doesn't have real clear structure, there has to be some more conversations and more accountability and transparency for what exactly is it that you stand for and what is the end goal. And I believe that there was some, thank you, Amy. Thank you for being here. Come back and see us sometime. Amen. Checking in with Black women is wise. I do. I have a checklist of people that I'm going to go check in on and see what's going on. So for those of you who don't know what's going on there, Dr. P&W says, and that's the issue with the movement. Their ideology hasn't changed. It's the leadership. Okay, yeah. And I did, what time is it? I've got about 4 minutes before I'm going to have to go make sure I can log on to Substack. Why are you so cool, though? I keep coming back. Are you talking to me? Are you in the right live? I don't think anybody has ever. Well, that's not true. When my grandkids were little, they thought I was pretty cool. They thought I was pretty darn cool. I appreciate that, Captain Boss Chocolate. You've made my day. I appreciate that. I love all the love. I love all the love. Yes, it's at 3 p.m. Eastern, and you'll be able to see it from, if you're following me there, you will be able to get a live notification that I've gone live there. This is my first time going live there, so I have no idea what to expect. The audio's not going to be that great for you. You'll be able to hear me. I'll still be in this microphone, but I won't have her mic'd like into my system because I don't know how to do that. Maybe someday we'll be able to take care of that, but just not today. This is kind of like a test run. Yes, 3 p.m. on Substack. Yes, indeed. So back to this. Yeah, I've got already 7 pages. 7 pages of notes regarding the purple movement. And I just started like Wednesday looking at, I think that's when I first learned about it. And I started thinking like, all right, here's some red flags I'm seeing. I took a lot of notes from the Black creators and what they were saying that concerned them. I saw some white creators make some content that I absolutely do not agree with. So I've got some pushback on that. So if we're not going to be able to talk about that later and you want to talk about that in a live, please let me know, because I do think this is an important conversation. Because at the end of this notes, I said, we got to do something. We do need cohesive movements. There's probably many of you here, just like me, who, what's the plan? And, people are saying, well, at least Purple Revolution showed up and has, I guess, what was it that, a concept of a plan, like Trump said. He was constantly saying, well, I have the concepts of a plan. It is at least something. But based on what I'm seeing some white creators who have presented themselves as problem solvers for a problem that they're not identifying. That can lead to white saviorism. Thank you, Edna, so much for all the lives. That can lead to white saviorism. I'm just saying, these are the problems and the roadblocks that people are seeing. So when we are starting movements, we want to make sure that we are listening to the voices of the oppressed, not to put them or ask them to take the lead, but to make sure that we're amplifying their voices, at the same time protecting them because of our country's sordid history with racism and bigotry. So there's a uniqueness here to say, well, we can say we have to start somewhere, is absolutely right, but the framework has to be incredibly solid, and it has to be communicated effectively in order to make sure that people can feel that their voices are heard and they are protected and respected before they're going to join anything. And so as far as I can see in the people that I follow, no one is interested in being a part of this movement quite yet, because that hasn't been explained to them. And the most problematic thing that I've seen then in response to some of that pushback is the original person who said, hi, Laylee. The original person who started it under Purple Revolution 2025 has now changed his username to Restoring Old America. Now, that can be very problematic. I don't know him. I don't know anything about him, but it's easy to assume that can signal nostalgia. I'm looking at my notes. Nostalgia for an era that was violent and exclusionary. So who exactly are we calling in now? Who are we recruiting? And if a username is problematic for the people that you say that you want to bring in, then that's going to be a problem. So who exactly are we recruiting, and what is the movement? So I would he scrubbed his account of everything before mid-September. That's interesting, Crazy Cricket. And yeah, Annie Mae, I've seen some people say that. Dr. PMW, I believe they don't want to define it because that will show their ideology. Yeah, concepts of a plan is that's what I'm seeing. Lisa, thank you for being here. I'm sorry I didn't catch you saying bye. Yeah, so I think everybody has a right to be concerned. I did see somebody say, let this play out a little while longer. So the first thing I would say is, as white people, we have to show a commitment to deconstructing. And when we deconstruct, there's always an element of decolonizing. It's like central to the deconstructing work that we have to do. So, deconstructing has really become the primary descriptor of deconstructing from modern American Christianity. But inside that modern American Christianity is a vein of white supremacy that runs through it. And it's very much linked to Christian patriarchy. And somewhere on that proverbial hierarchical structure of Christian patriarchy, we benefited from it. And unless we see that, and unless we use the language and we show our willingness to learn and move out of the way, because Christian patriarchy teaches us to reach down as if we are better than. But once you've deconstructed and decolonized, you realize that you just have to move out of the way from the people who have been left behind or forced behind. And so that language, there's a lot of language I've seen in the videos of people promoting the movement that does give me concern. Are they willing to have those conversations? I would hope. But none of us out here are responsible for their deconstructing journey. When you are finally ready, and even at this point, I would not, if someone came to me and said, I don't trust you as a person that is part of the historically oppressed, of Black, Indigenous, people of color, LGBTQIA+, I would say, I get that. I get it. I'm not offended that you feel that way at all, because of the historical representation of what our ancestors and even I'm capable of doing when I'm reckless and I don't realize I'm existing in privilege and I forget it, or I need to be reminded or corrected. And that is a very important mindset for anybody who's in a position of leadership. So if you are in community with them, then we need to make sure that they understand that. Again, we're not responsible for it. And I did see some people saying, well, we have to be really careful with people who are coming out of a cult-like existence, which MAGA does have those kinds of characteristics of a cult-like existence. Yeah, we have to be careful, but that doesn't mean that they're still not dangerous and creating and capable of creating and wreaking havoc in places where they're just not self-aware. It's 2:55. All right, I'm going to have to get my phone going. Let me just pick up real quick what I've missed. Captain says the challenge and urgency, either build the plane as you're flying it or wait forever for foundation. Yeah, I know that we can talk this thing to death and then we're out of time and fascism has taken over. And that's why I don't necessarily want to discourage anyone that's trying to start a movement. But we are in a very, very unique situation, because how do we reconcile with people that when so many white people voted this in office and 92% of Black women voted for Kamala? And they've been doing this over and over and over again. And yet it's and especially the white Christian woman who just keeps voting for these white Christian men and how much trouble they cause. All right, we're going to get this going. Now, in case you haven't forgot, I'm new to your channel. Thank you so much for your platform. Kim, I'm glad you're here. And that Dr. PM, and that is the danger of getting behind a movement that isn't defined. Yeah. So I'm not going to get on that plane. Not when I'm listening to Black creators. I have for years. I think that's what's helped. It's helped educate me. And I'm going to keep doing that until we see some kind of semblance. And I keep thinking, y'all, I can't start a movement. I'm 64 years old. Don't make me do this. Don't make me do this. Somebody get your act together and get us going. All right, so for those of you who don't know, I'm going live over on Substack. And I'm going to be going, you're going to be able to hear me because I'm still going to be talking. Yeah, crazy, I hear you. And so my mod at Rev Carla's shop is going to be, it's right there. I can accept. My mod at Rev Carla's shop is going to be watching your comments because I'm not going to be able to do much while I'm in here. See my phone? And so let's see how this happens. I'm getting ready to accept. I'm going to drink a little water here. Fix those bangs. She cut them too short. I don't like y'all to see my 5-finger forehead. All right, here we go. Hi there.
I was watching you on TikTok. You're so cute.
Oh, you did?
I'm obsessed with you. You're just
Malynda. All right, so, okay, she was watching, so she can hear you. Can you say something, Malynda, and see if they can hear you over there?
Hello, everyone. This is Malynda Hale. How are you?
They can hear you.
Wonderful.
I'm going to move the mic a little closer to make sure they can. Now, if you can come and join us over there, we would appreciate it. But we also know that we have some of you staying there. So I think this is going to be a really wonderful conversation. And it's her live, so I'm going to stop talking and let her ask the questions.
I'm going to go live right now. It takes
Okay.
a little time for it to buffer. But,
Okay.
I'm so glad we finally got to do
Yes.
this. I just think you're so special. I just think you're so wonderful.
How are you doing in your new role and with everything that's going on?
It's a lot. It's a lot. And I've always been a multi-hyphenate balancing a bunch of stuff. So it just added to the mix. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another In Conversation on We Need to Talk. I am so excited to be here with Rev Carla. We have been following each other on social media for quite some time, but I don't think we've ever actually done this. So I'm super excited to be chatting with you. You were just live on TikTok, so hopefully get some of those viewers over here as well. But I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about your journey. You know, when I found your content and started following you, I always felt like this peace and this love and just you wanting to really guide people in such a beautiful way. And I know we had a conversation about a little bit about how you deconstructed and you're more spiritual now. And so I just want to talk a little bit about that because I as you know, I work now with TNE. I'm the executive director there, and a lot of the people in that community are from the deconstruction space. And I don't know if you know this, but I never deconstructed because I always was born and raised a progressive Christian. That's just what my life was. So when I got exposed to like evangelicalism and white Christian nationalism, I was blown away that this existed because it was never something I was exposed to. So I just want to hear a little bit more about your journey with spirituality, with your faith, your deconstruction. I'm just going to give you the floor because I just want to learn from you. Yeah.
Oh, well, first of all, I'm honored to be here. And it is definitely a mutual admiration for you. But I also want to acknowledge something that you did that I'll never forget. When the Christians for Kamala campaign came up, and you invited me into that space. And so often, as someone who was unchurched at the time, and obviously I still am, but I still identified as a Christian during that campaign. And that was a beautiful experience, the way you put all of us together. That would not have happened. I would not have been invited to something like that without you. And because I think you get it. You are one of those who gets that I am not a threat to you. You understand, and I'm not going to put words in your mouth, but I think I know enough about you to know that you understand that there's some of us that for our own good and based on our experiences, it is in our best interest that we stay unchurched. And wherever that leads us, some people do end up going back to church, but for many of us, we tend to spiral away and even become untethered from our Christian heritage, which is what happened to me recently. I mean, I think it was really starting around the election for me, if I want to be honest. And then it really just kind of just broke out like, okay, it's time for me to talk about this.
Yeah.
So for me, I was raised Southern Baptist. So I was in it.
You were in it, yeah.
church 3 times a week, Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night, the vacation Bible schools, I was always there. And the revivals, even as a little girl, in the beautiful rolling hills of Kentucky, if my grandmother's car was pointed towards church, I was in it. So I would sit through 2 weeks in those crazy hot tents, listening to those intense preachers. And I was enamored by them. I just thought they were just like, I did think they were like God. But the other day, even I was talking to when I was on live on TikTok, I was talking about how I can even remember that was probably the first moment of tension for me, because I looked at them and I thought, I can do that. At 9 years old, I go, I can do that. I can probably even do it better, but I can't, because I already knew my church would not accept women preachers. And see, I'm a child of the 60s. So here we are in 2025, and the Southern Baptist Convention just keeps doubling down on the fact that women shouldn't preach. And they continue to kick churches out who are awakening to the archaic, holding on to those beliefs in a way that harm women, that harm people who have been historically oppressed, and not understanding the intersectionality of that. But so little by little, I was navigating through Christianity, and I ended up in non-denominational Christianity that I've been baptized a couple of times because one wouldn't accept the other baptism and all those crazy things. But I so wanted to be accepted because I kept believing that there was something wrong with me. That there was something inherently wrong with me, because everybody else seemed to be happy inside Christianity except me. So it has to be me. And so when I finally started to realize, well, I was in a progressive church. I was an ordained elder in a Presbyterian church, but I knew something was still shifting for me, that even inside progressive church, because at the time when I was a leader inside the Presbyterian church, we started talking about ordaining the LGBTQIA plus community. And I then didn't realize how many people sitting in the pew beside me were homophobic. It absolutely broke my heart, because that's where I was conflicting with my own faith, because I came from the place where being gay was a sin, but moving to progressive, I just thought I found a place where we were releasing people from those kinds of harmful beliefs, where they could live the way they wanted to live and show up in their authenticity. And so that really shook me to the core. That experience really did. So I thought, something's happening. And if I'm really thinking what I'm thinking is happening, I couldn't even say the words to myself, I was going to go all in. And so I ended up at an apostolic Pentecostal church. I went all in, speaking in tongues, faith healing, the whole 9 yards. And there's never been a time, don't you dare out there call me a church shopper, because that's not what I was. I did the work. I was at the church 5-6 days a week. I was the hardworking, good Christian trying to figure out and reconcile what was happening inside me and why I still could not find the peace that surpasses all understanding. I was looking for that all the time. Well, the tension grew by the time I had gotten to that point, because that wasn't what I was looking for. It wasn't the immersion of the Holy Spirit, because I then was recognizing some of the hypocrisy. I had to accept that what people had done to some of organized religion was what was the conflict I had. And whether it was some my personality type or whatever it was, it began to suffocate me. Literally, I felt suffocated. And I tell a lot of those experiences in my book, but really the day I knew I was leaving, I knew I would never come back to that church. I just didn't at the time know that I was leaving church for good. I thought eventually I would end up finding where I belonged, because there was no way. I still believed in an active God who would answer my prayers and put me where I needed to serve. And very much felt that I just hadn't found it yet. But what ended up happening instead was I found new mentors. I found new ways to understand creation, divine, the mystery and wonder of spirituality. Dove deep into world religions, was mentored by a shaman. Without their guidance, I don't know what I would do, even though I was really angry with them when they said, listen, you're going to get through this and you're going to turn around and you're going to say to people this way. I'm like, what are you talking about? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. How am I going to tell anybody how to get through this?
Yeah.
And then I go, oh, you know what? They weren't that far away from the truth. But then I ended up, I knew I wanted to be in, when I left that church, I was in their school of ministry, which is really just a way to keep people in unpaid labor, but by giving them an unofficial title, because the ordination of pastor was a moving target. You never know what you had to do. All of a sudden, just one day you were going to be a pastor. Big deal. So I did go to an interfaith, interspiritual seminary, but even at that time, Malynda, I didn't tell people. I didn't tell my family. Of course, my husband knew, but I didn't. And my children knew, but I didn't tell many people because I still have a heavy Southern Baptist representation in my family. Right. And I didn't tell a soul. They just assumed. They would say things like, "What church you're going to serve?" And I went, "No, I don't know. We'll just wait and see what happens." And then finally, I started writing online after I was ordained, and I really didn't know where it was going to lead. I started on...
When were you ordained? What year?
2017.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I started writing about 2015, right as I entered seminary. And so that's kind of where, then you go to and TikTok in 2020 and what they say, the rest is history. Yeah. TikTok changes everything.
I love it. You built such a huge community over there. I love it. And I feel like what you said about me is what I feel about you. You said you felt like you wouldn't have been invited into that space because I get it. I feel like you allow people into your community, in your space, because you get it, right? And I feel like you've opened up. I hate to use the word safe because I know it puts a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure and a lot of responsibility with that word, because people say that to me as well. Like, oh, you feel like you're a safe space. And I'm like, I don't want to have that responsibility. But I feel like that's the only word I can really use, that I feel like the community that you're really cultivating is trying to have a safe space. And I think that we both are kind of cut from the same cloth, that whatever you choose to believe, whatever route you take, as long as you're treating people with kindness and showing up with love, that's what matters.
That's beautiful. You just preached. I knew it was in there. Not in
my, I promise you that's not in my journey.
Okay. We'll see about that. You'll be sorry you said that.
I know. Everyone keeps trying to get me into that or into politics, and I'm like, neither. I'm good. No.
Okay.
I don't want
All right.
to.
All right. No pressure here.
I'm valuable in where I'm landing. But okay, let's talk about this word deconstruction, because it is something that I was exposed to recently in the last couple of years, because I didn't really know what it was or what people were experiencing. But how would you define deconstruction for people that may not know what it is or what the process is?
Well, it's interesting because I never heard the word until I came to TikTok. And that's what the algorithm is like. Unbelievable, because by day one I was already starting to have those kinds of videos on my FYP. And before that time, though, I would say things like, I am untangling from the beliefs that no longer serve my highest good. And I didn't have a word for that other than just continuing to say that. And it's also kind of broad, it can allow people to draw their own conclusions. So it was very non-committal, and it also gave me some room not to necessarily put other words behind it. But word deconstructing, to be honest with you, I didn't like it. When I first heard it, I did not like it. I'm like, is that where we landed? Is that what we're going to use here? It sounds very violent. And it sounds like, well, what's left in the ashes? And obviously I've changed. It's the name of my book.
Yeah.
But it also, in that moment when in the beginning of the book I talk about an experience where our home flooded in almost right before I went into seminary, and looking at what my goals were and what my dreams were and how the water changed my life. And I had this feeling of like, okay, everything is going to get demolished, and then I got to then build back up, and then I get to restore. Then you put on that finishing touches and you restore things in a new vision. And really, so in that way, deconstructing is appropriate. And so I see it almost as those three phases when our house was completely gutted because of the kind of, it was really gross water.
Yeah.
And it damaged everything, and black mold then came into the home. It's like that. What's in your life, and it really is. You keep peeling away layers to not only reveal the things that you do have that need to be let go, but it's also the things that need to be healed. And then what's in its place? Once that destruction is done, how are you going to build it back up? And that's why it becomes like deconstructing can become your spiritual path, especially for those of us who were raised in Christian patriarchy. Any type of Christian patriarchy that afforded us privilege of any kind, it's very important to be aware of that deconstructing and decolonizing are a lifelong process. And a commitment to that means that we change our mindset. If not, we always feel like we're the smartest people in the room. We should be the loudest. I know you cannot wait to hear me talk. I know you cannot wait to hear what I have to say. So there's those kinds of things we have to be aware of. So for deconstructing for me now is for me to check in with myself, to see the places where I'm hiding hurt. And if I may, I'll tell you a quick story.
Yeah.
When I realized I was ready to untether from my Christian identity, first of all, reconciling that, because the book already has a part 2, and it's just a year old, because I don't talk about that in the book because it just happened. I then had to reconcile with the fact that this was something that I'm letting go of my family's legacy and being at peace with that. And then when I told the story, and really I haven't told it much out in social media land as much as I've written about it. So it's here on TikTok, and boy, has it gotten some interesting comments. It's offended a lot of somehow it found its way to
the other side of TikTok.
Yes, there you go. High control evangelical to differentiate the high control evangelical Christianity or the conservative side of Christianity. And that's okay. They can do their thing.
Sure.
But the comfort and the assurance and the gentleness that people who got it gave me, offered me, like, welcome to this place. But it kind of angered me. Yeah, I haven't talked about this outside of this, but it angered me because I thought, wait a minute, I'm supposed to be helping you. And then that again, that's another layer of deconstructing. I didn't want to see that.
Wow.
I wanted to believe that this was something that I could hold from a place of empowerment. But before I did, I had to accept that I was revealing how hard this was. I was revealing how this was something I tried desperately to hold on to because it did mean something to me for a long time. And I had to grieve it.
Yeah.
I did have to grieve it.
Absolutely.
And the memories of my grandmother, because of her, I am spiritual. Of her, I always wanted to look for the divine in people and in my life and the ways I will leave the world a better place than I found it. And I had to reconcile all that. That's a good example of what deconstructing is. Humility, ego will always have a death grip on the steering wheel. Humility is just sitting over here going, well, anytime. Anytime you want me to take the front and center, I'll do it, but you have to invite me.
Yeah.
And so that was humbling, and I'm still working on it. It's relatively new. I think I wrote that in April. So it's still relatively new, and I'm still dealing with that. And then technically, I've only done one video on it in the social media world. So I should probably talk more about it.
Talk more. And it's interesting to use the word grieve. I think people don't realize that it is a grieving process, because you are becoming a different person, untethering yourself, which I love that you use that word, untethering yourself from what you maybe grew up with, and that's what shaped you, right, until a certain point in your life. And now you're like, well, who am I now without those set of beliefs? Who am I now without that structure, that organized religion? And it's a loss, but then it's also a rebirth as well.
Yes.
Because and this beautiful discovery, which I think that there's beauty in that. There's pain, obviously, and you have to go through it. But I think any kind of evolution that you have in life with personality, and I mean, you go through that when you get married, you go through that when you have a baby, if you think there's so many different things that change who you are. And I think that people don't realize, like, that is a big part of it, when you change your whole belief system that shaped you. Now, who am I? So I love that you share that. I definitely think you should do more videos on that. It's so important.
Well, I have a feeling this might end up clipped. If I can have it, do they give you recordings of your?
They do give you clips. So
okay,
you gotta share those, because those are super important.
I promise I will. The other part of that, if I may, were the pushback from the, I would say, conservative, high control evangelical Christians, who really wanted to mock me for how much I spoke about the tension inside the political place we are now. And why that was such a determining factor for me. And for a long time, I haven't done a lot about that as far as responding to it, unless I just wanted to get a little snarky and make some comments.
We all have those moments.
Yes, but I haven't done a lot with elaborating on it until I realized, oh wait, empowerment's showing up, because I'm ready to talk about it. And this might be clunky, but I'm going to try to say it, because part of it is, what do you expect? How can you now tell me that it's not political? You're trying to distance yourself from politics that has always been inside American Christianity. So do not tell me I can't make it a reason for distancing myself from it, because it was in the pulpit, it was in the Bible study, it was in the way they told you how to vote without telling you how to vote. It was all there. And it was also in the apathy, because we knew what was happening inside those churches where this Christian nationalism has been birthed. I was in them as a child. We knew it was in there, and we said nothing. So even, there's a sense of responsibility of progressive Christianity because we had this unspoken code where we just didn't talk about it.
Right.
We didn't talk about that church down the street because it was Christian. So now, obviously the radicals did, the Westboro, or, even as a child, I remember a Bible study that was talking about why all other churches were wrong. But so that gave it permission to grow and fester.
Yeah.
And so how now it absolutely is about the best opportunity that Christianity has to exist, to survive, is a Christianity that understands its ethical responsibility to clean up the mess of former Christianity. And that will require a responsibility to politics that's humanity focused.
Yes.
It's the only way it's going to survive, and then literally not only distancing but separating. It's not enough just to say there are various denominations. There are some that are just dangerous, and that there has to be that language around it. And so again, for me, permanently unchurched and then untethering was the next step. Because if you look at, I can see off to the side what's happening over in TikTok land. Like you said, that community, that's who I represent. Yes, there are people there who are still churched. You and I have a respect for each other, and you see yourself working inside the system, and I admire you for that, and you understand the mutual benefit of our coexisting.
Absolutely.
And for me, I needed to be planted deeply inside that system to say, I'm going to represent the unchurched from a place of untethering myself from my Christian heritage, because that keeps me more focused instead of trying to think that there's some kind of obligation I have to clean up what's back there. But we're not mutually exclusive. We need to find a way to coexist.
Yeah.
So that I think that's a conversation that will continue to expand.
I agree. I think the working in tandem is incredibly important because it's a collective liberation, right? Mm-hmm. It's a group project that we all have to be a part of, no matter what side of this we're on. You said something that really struck me that I just absolutely loved. You said humanity focused, and God, I just love that phrase because it's not what we're seeing currently in our political climate. It's very self-interest, right? It's very self-focused. And I'm wondering, for you, having been deep in it and now removed from it, where did that self-centeredness really stem from a organized religion standpoint? I have my own thoughts, and I actually just did a conversation about this in Huffington Post, but I want to hear from you how you think we've gotten so obsessed with, and I say we, I don't mean me, you know what I mean?
I do.
We, but how we've gotten so obsessed with self-interest and not being more humanity focused.
So I just put together the framework of a writing I'm going to post on Sunday, where I'm trying to, a beautiful human being gave me the phrase struggle salvation. And then it led to, I don't know if you can indulge me for just a second. I'm going to see if I can find this struggle salvation, because then it led me to salvation, like a salvation focus, almost syndrome. And
like an obsession.
Yes. One of the things I noticed, and I'm trying to elaborate on that, and so I don't know what's going to happen with this Sunday writing, but it goes along with that question, is how much, even though we were in community as a church, the focus was more about you bypassing the pain and suffering of the world to make sure that you understood that your primary focus was to always focus on your salvation. So whether you are suffering greatly or you are doing the work of the Lord in your church, it always had to be your church. Things out in the community didn't count. Not on my side of Christianity, it didn't. We had sermons about it, because I worked in animal welfare. I've worked in animal welfare for 25 years. And I was mocked for it because it wasn't about Jesus. Because anytime you bring in empathy or compassion for the world, being in the world or not of it, then that's competing with the needs of the church. So the church teaches you how to be selfish. The church teaches you that greed is next to godliness. The church teaches you that spiritual bypassing is don't look at the pain of the world and the suffering of the world, or the fact that we're completely eradicating our natural resources, or that animals suffer, because all of that's going to be made anew when Jesus returns and we literally have heaven on earth. And so that becomes the playbook to keep people hyper-focused on the church's needs, then in turn on your needs.
Yeah.
So anytime anything that was, and honestly, I've never used that phrase humanity focused until right now as I was speaking. So we both need to hang on to that.
I love it.
But that to me is the crux of it, is understanding that and this is not me knocking the belief. If your belief is in salvation, and that whether it's through works, whether it's through belief, whether it's through the act of baptism, or a combination of any of those things, I'm never knocking how a person's faith and belief are rectified with their human action. But
Sure.
There is absolutely nothing, I believe, in the Bible that justifies us ignoring the pain of our neighbor,
Right.
or the suffering that we collectively cause.
Yeah.
But that is a tenet of Christian nationalism. So all you
Yes.
have to look at is a person like Mike Pence to see that. He very much espouses that. He did it when it was subtle, but it was always a dog whistle to that conservative, high control evangelical Christian that says, you hear what I'm saying when I say that God gives us infinite ability to use the natural resources. I know what he's saying. We've all sat in those that saying, don't worry about the pain of the animals.
Sure. Yeah.
Don't worry about our water being tainted. It's all for God's glory, because our reward is in heaven. So I believe that's a lot of the teaching. I can't speak to the younger generations that have moved away from that kind of religious ideology, but those of us who still have that in us somewhere, we have to make sure that that is a big part of moving away from those indoctrinated teachings when we deconstruct, so that we understand how closely our actions and our awareness, our awakening to how our actions impact other people, or even if it's just our mindset, how we look to, for instance, here's a really good example. I believe that one of the biggest problems with white women voting for Kamala was because of our bias to look for white men to lead. And they would not believe in a million years that they are racist. They would not see it that way. But if you understand that that's part of those indoctrinations, but the only way you become aware of it, and then how that harms others by reinforcing the system, then you can start to deconstruct from it. But those are hard things to deconstruct, and it's usually when something gets close enough to your life, where someone that you truly love, or yourself, where you realize the harm that's caused within this structure. Like, I thought only they were going to hurt. Now I realize we're going to hurt too. And you're going to see a lot of that falling out right now. And I do think you do, as people are trying to recover from MAGA. And some of them not in a healthy way. But I think we'll start to see that. But that's my feeling, is that it's really part of the highly indoctrinated beliefs that creates a spiritual bypassing.
Yeah. It's hearing you say all that, like, it all makes complete sense, but it's also so utterly devastating. Specifically, your last point that you're making, that we're going to start seeing a lot of the fallout. And we are starting to see, even with the Marjorie Taylor Greenes of the world, who's completely now going against everything that Trump says, because her children are going to have higher health care, and she doesn't want that for them. But it's unfortunate that it does take it having to affect you personally for some people to care. I've never been homeless. I just did a whole podcast about homelessness. It's something I'm very passionate about. Not a member of the LGBTQ community, but I absolutely care about their rights. I've never had an abortion, but I want to make sure that people have reproductive health care. And I don't know why we can't take this collective care attitude, specifically if people claim to be Christ followers, because it is very clear to me what he said we are supposed to do if we choose to follow him, right? I've never been confused on what his message was, and somehow it's been so distorted, and Jesus is a white American, gun-loving, homophobic, racist man. That's who he's become in America somehow, and I just don't get it. I don't get it.
It makes no sense. There is no
Yeah.
reconciling. There is no reconciling that with Jesus.
Yeah.
There is no way. And that's the
Yeah.
reason why when you read like the article from in 2022 when Russell Moore, the former president of Southern Baptist Convention, who came out and said he's literally hearing from pastors who are whose church members are complaining when they preach on the Beatitudes. You know, blessed are the poor, blessed are the hungry, you know, blessed are the meek, you know, all of these things which are supposed to be the words of Jesus, who tells us that love is service, love is humility, love is kindness and compassion. So for anybody to stand up and tell you that empathy is a sin, you immediately know you have reached in, you are going so far removed from anything that's scriptural. But I mean, let's be honest, history shows us that this happens.
Yeah.
That's everything around World War I started because, you know, you have to look at this time right now. And if you're a Christian and you are looking at your faith and what it's telling you, all you have to do is say, who are you more aligned with? Is it the confessing church that Dietrich Bonhoeffer started to fight fascism? Or is it the ones who bent the knee and became the German Christians who supported Nazism?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just very clear. Who do you think you are? And if you're trying to contort yourself to fit in a narrative that doesn't exist, I hope that they look themselves in the mirror and give themselves pause, because there's never a time in history where oppression of human rights and suffocating the rights of others can ever be aligned with Jesus. It just cannot be.
Right. It's a very good point. Very good point.
So,
before we wrap up, I always love to ask people, because I know times are hard and we're always so focused on the terrible things that are happening, but what is giving you hope right now?
I just did an article called Women Who Bent the Arc. And I have this mild obsession with the stories of the 20s about, I'm here in Indiana, and how close we came to a member of the White Sheet. Oh, hold on. I just saw something. TikTok just asked me to prove I'm still here. There. Phew. Glad I saw that on my eyes. Oh, there's quite a few people over there. Hi, guys. I'll be over there in just a second. I have an obsession with understanding that, because how closely we came to a man who was proud of his white sheets that he wore, and he was a powerful leader. And the fact that the story is horrific. He brutally assaulted a young woman. And at that time, women didn't talk about those things. You just hid in shame and silence. But she came forward and told her testimony in her words. And it brought him down. Right. And you can go through history and you can look at the Shirley Chisholms and you can look at the Marguerite Chase Smiths and you can look at that bridge to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Jasmine Crockett and Kamala, and understand that it just takes one person to stand in courage.
Yes.
And just like Dr. King said, and President Obama said, the arc of the moral universe, it does bend towards justice, but it bends because people grab it and they bend it. And I do believe that as humanity, we are awakening to a level of consciousness that says kindness and compassion are our moral compass. We must lead with that, but patriarchy is always going to try to grab and hold on to it. We are in its death throes. I do believe it cannot survive. And even though we may be through rough times, I do believe that among us we have Madge Oberholzer and Marjorie Chase Smith and Shirley Chisholms. We have them among us. Yeah. You look at the women who started the French Revolution. You look at the women in Poland. You look at the people who have created movements when they finally come together and hold hands and say enough is enough. Yeah. And we're getting we're here. We're here now. We're in that time. So I won't give up. for where we are now, my children, my grandchildren, and other people's children. I want to just say this, and I'll stop. I have had the honor to be the first person for hundreds of people, for them to feel safe enough to come out and share their story with me.
I know what that feels like. It's heavy, but it's also, you're doing something right when you feel, and that's why I use the word safe. Like, it's such a heavy word, but it's true. Oh, you're making me cry. But it's a heavy word, and it's a big responsibility. But you are doing what you're supposed to do, if that's how somebody feels about you, to be able to be that vulnerable and allow them to be their true self with you. There's really nothing more rewarding than that. I've been in that position many times before. Having gone to a super conservative evangelical Christian school, knowing people that you have a feeling, and then they feel comfortable telling you, and I'm like, I'm glad you felt safe with me.
Yeah.
So I get that. It's really special, and I love what you've built. I love the community you have, and I'm sure you will continue to be the first for a lot of people.
That's why I will continue. I have to. I will continue, because I hope in my lifetime we're going to make this right. Not only right, but better. But we can't dismantle something until the people at the table who have been harmed, who have been historically oppressed, are sitting there as equals. Not because their heads have been patted and they've become tokenized in those roles, that their voices are loud and proud and the ones in the center. And I want to see that happen. Yeah. I want that. I visualize it. I see it. It's part of my manifestation, if you will. That I want to see that table built, and that's my hope. That's what keeps me going.
I love it. Well, we're going to keep fighting together.
Yes.
And I'm so honored to know you, and thank you for sitting down. I could have talked to you for hours.
This was wonderful. Thank you so much. I've enjoyed our time. We'll have to do it. We'll do it again soon. I know we will.
Absolutely will.
Okay.
We absolutely will. Thanks for tuning in, everyone.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Are you there? How'd we do? Can you hear me? Did you all hear that? I got to get a drink. Did you love it? Good. Oh, did I just see Mary Beth? Hey, I'm going to make you a mod. Why can't I make you a mod? Add a moderator there. Oh my goodness. Thank you. Thank you, sister. I did it. I did it. I got my hair done. I did it. Like I said, the bangs are a little short, but it's good. I'm sorry, Tay. I didn't see any of the comments. I wanted to stay focused on talking to Malynda. If you don't know Malynda, please, please, please post recording when ready. I don't know what this is. Send post as email. Lynette, I'm going to say send post as email, and I hit post when ready. I don't know what I just did. Good. I'm glad you liked it. So if you're not following, you can find Malynda Hale, Malynda Hale, Hale, on TikTok, on all the places. She's also the president of the New Evangelicals. She's doing some really great work. So many of your words were so on point. It was perfection. Thank you. I love it when we have these kinds of conversations with people when we're so aligned. And I'm going to tell you, we didn't even talk about what we were going to talk about during that time. So that was great. Are there any questions or any comments or anything before we wrap up? I've been on now for a while. Let's see, I've been over an hour. So that's usually, I'm thankful for individuals like you, Rev. Thank you. That's so kind. I can stay on a little bit longer. Thank you, Lynette, for posting that. In case anybody has any questions is there anything that you want to talk about? Your point about bypassing suffering reminds me of Howard Thurman's Jesus and the Disinherited. I'm going to look at that. Look to your neighbor and say humanity focused. Is that a sermon or what? I've never used that term before, but I love it. No, Lil Bib, I don't know. No, I have not collaborated with No Nonsense. Should I? I want to go back up to what you said. Howard Thurman's Jesus. And you know what? I think I have seen that before, now that you say it. Okay. Are there any questions? Anything happening here? Jesus and the Disinherited stays on my nightstand. I think you will love it. Well, I can't wait to get it. Crazy says raised Baptist too. Always got in trouble for asking questions. Yeah. Wendy says, what is your thought? And am waiting to allow yeah. And wanting to allow conversions therapy. Have we heard anything? Has there been a decision? I'm getting some content ready for a video on that. I'm very concerned. The science is absolutely does not agree with anything. It's harmful. I have to be careful about the words I use here when talking about anything when it comes to issues of the LGBTQIA plus community, but it's very harmful. It's traumatic. And there's science behind it. Just Jana says, thank you. I'm currently what I think in a deconstructing journey. I connected with your message. They just said about it on another post. Who did, Wendy? What did I miss? It is very harmful. Yes, it is. Yes, it is, Lorna. There's a lot of data also showing the amount of self-harm that's done in places where it's allowed. That's so heartbreaking. Britt Hartley. Oh, I think I know. I think it would be an amazing discussion. Okay, I'll have to check into that. Thank you. You know, I get collab requests all the time, and most of the times it's just because I don't have time. But I'll certainly look at that. Okay, how's that? God bless the LGBTQIA plus community. They are so loved. Amen. Amen. Yes. Harmful. Where was it allowed? Well, I believe there are still states that allow it, and there's only a few. We're going to look it up so I can act like I know I'm talking about it. Well, it says there are no states that explicitly, I got to get the phone stand out of my way, allow it, but there's states that ban it. So what they do is they have states that ban it, but there are states that don't ban it. And so what they're fighting are the states that have banned it, including, I think this came from a case in Colorado. So, for instance, you have California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Hawaii, Illinois, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, a lot of the blue states, of course. And then there's other states that don't have any laws on the books. So what are you going to do? As a conversion torture survivor, I am outraged it still happens. I'm sorry, Mama Amy. I'm so sorry that happened to you. There have been a couple creators that I've been friends with here on TikTok who tell their story, and that's just heartbreaking. I'm so sorry. So you all could hear Malynda good when I was talking? Did that work out okay? This mic is really good, so hopefully you could hear what she was saying. That was a lot of fun. I do have some big interviews coming up pretty soon. Well, that's awesome. That's good to know. So if in a pinch I can do that in the future, right? That's good. Yeah, it's very, very concerning. And what it also does is it obviously it's not only taking us backward, it's hinting to the mindset of originalists. And when you look at, one of the biggest concerns about Amy Coney Barrett was the fact that she was proudly an originalist. And an originalist is someone who believes that the original Constitution should never have been changed. So any of the amendments that have been created to expand rights or explain how the rights are to be applied should go away. So what does that tell you? And it's always about, yes, you think immediately about the hypocrisy in something like that. Because here's a woman, highly educated, a career woman who is using her platform to eliminate the rights of others, including women's rights to property, to custody of her children should there be a divorce, a right to divorce without and her husband not denying it. You have to think about back in the 50s and the rights that, I mean, if women tried to divorce and may lose her children, may lose all of her assets, may have no right to child support, have nothing left to her name. It kept women in really harmful, abusive relationships. And yet here's this woman sitting in the highest, most powerful office in the land, telling another woman that that's what she's going to do. Do you see the hypocrisy? When you look at the women like Caroline Leavitt and Pam Bondi and Kristi Noem and Amy Coney Barrett, they don't want it for themselves. They mean it's for you. And they know they're high enough up on that hierarchical structure. As long as they're doing the bidding of patriarchy, they're protected. There is nothing more dangerous. There is nothing more dangerous than a woman who will protect patriarchy. Nothing more dangerous. You can't trust them, and they will turn on you. How does a woman do that to other women? It's part of the indoctrination to create. It's part of the mindset, and it's horrific, but it's very true. So as I was talking to Malynda a few minutes ago, trading their peace for ours, absolutely, and they don't have any problems with it. That is the proverbial phrase of carrying a woman who will carry water for the patriarchy. She has no problem lugging that water up there to pour it down on others. She has no problem. Her conscience is clear. None. What are your thoughts on MTG going woke? Is she really? I no doubt she's terrified. And I really don't want to be snarky, because I do think that let's have a serious conversation. Let me have a drink. Because going back to our conversation, for those of you who've been here with me for over an hour, where we were talking about the Purple Revolution. And, oh, but your snarky is so good. It's not as good as yours, sister. It's not as good as yours, but it's pretty good. We were talking about the Purple Revolution and the need for deconstructing and decolonizing mindsets. And we talked a little bit about that with Malynda. But I do believe that there are many people inside MAGA who are terrified at what's happening, because in their simple-mindedness, and I'm not using that insulting their intelligence, because it's really about their indoctrination. The indoctrination teaches you to believe with every fiber of your being whatever a man tells you, even if you don't entirely, you can't reconcile what they're telling. You just have to hope for the best, because they're always right. So they have your best interest at heart, and they're always right. So when you look at somebody like Marjorie, I hear that she's worried about the fact that her kids may not have insurance. I hear she's worried. I gotta find my phone. My dog wants to go out. I gotta get somebody to go get my dog out. Do you hear him? I don't know what seriously, what did I just do with my phone? Oh, it's still in the holder. I'm okay. I'm okay. It's hard to want to stand with them. It's like going back to your abuser. Yeah. Well, go, if you want to learn more, the Handmaid Army, if you want to go learn more about like the Purple Revolution and how people feel about the people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who are now being very open and critical of the Trump regime, listen to Black women. So just go find content and learn and listen. Hi, William. Listen to Black women, and you will learn why it's valid to be concerned. Here's the problems that we have with this. It doesn't mean that Marjorie won't be useful, but Marjorie's not the leader we need. This is what I want to say, and I want to say this very carefully. Let me get somebody to get my dog out. Until if there is no recovering MAGA, we're in a state of urgency now. But there is no recovering MAGA who would be qualified for a movement to lead people who are liberal on the left, who voted blue. There's no qualifications that say that they are the leaders that we need right now. The amount of deconstructing that a person like Marjorie Taylor Greene needs to do disqualifies her immediately. It doesn't mean that she could not be a useful tool if she would listen to the voices of those that she had harmed. If he won't go, it's no big deal. You can just leave the door open. Thank you.
You're welcome.
If she's going to listen to those she has harmed, I don't know again what her platform is, but if she wants to disrupt, we need a lot of disruptors. Let her disrupt. Just let her go, because anything she can do to put kinks in the armor of the Trump regime, and anything she can do to reveal the hypocrisy of the Republican Party and how they're marching in lockstep to Trump, let her go. Let her go, but she is not the leader we need right now. So we are conditioned, and I'm talking about people who have been indoctrinated, which is a lot of us white people. We have been indoctrinated into patriarchal structures. We look for people who act like they know what they're doing and hope that they'll lead us. And that's not what we're doing right now. We need somebody with a formidable plan that takes into account, just like I was telling Malynda at the end, what does that table look like when you really have people who represent the diversity of America, especially those who have been tokenized in positions but not really put in positions of leadership. What does it look like when we get out of the way and allow them a voice at the table? It's going to look entirely different, and it's going to be incredibly powerful. But if we think that just because all of a sudden Marjorie Taylor Greene wakes up and she's upset about the Epstein files, or she's upset because her children's health insurance is going to go up, that's a really good first step, Marjorie. Keep talking. Keep talking, because you may now be the catalyst for someone else's MAGA mom to all of a sudden start deconstructing. And then she may go finally listen to the videos that her daughter has been sending her for 5 years. She may all of a sudden say, okay, I've been fooled. What do I need to learn? What do I need to do? And so deconstructing can be happening while people start to get together to fight fascism. Could it be disingenuous just for re-election? Yes. Like she's trying to move more moderate? Yeah. Jojo says it will be powerful. There's nothing like coming together. It would be a beautiful table. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm a minister, and I like to put, I want to help us manifest that. Let this be a manifestation of harmony. There's nothing wrong with thinking about that while we're working on a plan to dismantle the structure that protected fascism to walk right in the door of our democracy. How did that happen? We left a door unlocked somewhere and allowed that to happen, which is exactly what I was talking with Malynda about. And that is the fact that there was an unspoken code inside Christianity that said you never talked about the other churches. That allowed Christian nationalism to fester. A lot of us knew it was happening. Many of us experienced it, but nobody talked about it because you didn't feel accountability and it was in bad form to criticize other churches. So the ones who could have done something about it didn't, because you thought that that was your responsibility to be apathetic towards those who were more political. But it's going to require some kind of reconciliation of Christianity with its political roots. It's been there all the time. I can't see whose name is, whoever said hello. It looks like you have emojis for a name, but hi. I'm glad you're here. I didn't see, amen, exactly what I was thinking. Unchecked, I did not see. Spiro, we don't do Bible verses here. You're welcome to stay if you're wanting to ask questions or contribute to the conversation. But the Bible verses aren't helping here. We are a deconstructing community and we create as safe as possible as we can in a public forum. So that is your gentle warning. With a smile. For you, Mary Beth. She's snarky. She's snarky today. Well, it's nice to see you too. It's nice to see you too. I'm so glad to be here. It's Friday. Isn't this nice? I don't even know what to do with myself. I know what I need to go do with myself. I need to go do laundry, but I like being here with y'all. It's fun. Now, I do think you do have some homework. If you haven't, you've given us overtime. Thank you, Captain Boss. I enjoy it. I really do. I think I needed a break from making videos. I still will make them, of course. Got back from Costco. Jealous. You went to Costco. I'm so jealous. I don't have one in my town. And so it's a big deal to go. You're a tired nurse. I bet, James. I haven't been assigned homework in years. You do have homework. So especially for those of you who are on the activist side, you need to go figure out what you think about Purple Revolution and go do your homework. Just if you type in Purple Revolution on TikTok, you're going to find all the information you want to know about it. We can talk more about it at another time. I'm kind of over it right now. Number 2, I forgot what I was going to say. I think I need to eat supper. Send me down a rabbit hole. You will go down a rabbit hole. I do have a couple of videos. What's it called? Oh, I really am getting tired. Reposted. Go look at those. I do have a couple. Me looking for my phone while I'm on it. Supper at 4. Yes, I eat supper early. The fact that I call it supper should tell you a little bit about me. My grandkids make fun of me. Who in here calls dinner supper? Who? Anybody? Is it just me? New blog up on Substack. Look at Rev Carla Shop doing the work. Yes, I just posted. Mary Fan does. See, she and I would just. I gotta go see my stepmom. I gotta go see my stepchild. Lunch and dinner. No, it's dinner and supper. It's dinner and supper. Yes, that's my Kentucky roots coming out. My latest blog is I'm done recommending church support groups. I'm done. I'm tired of hearing the horror stories, and it's up it's now up to those in those positions of leadership to be transparent and accountable and prove that they have the qualifications, that they have vetted their facilitators. We should not be the ones assuming that they are safe. I am French. It is supper. It is indeed. It is indeed. Research Purple Revolution, because there's so much going on there. And I see the discourse about people who are concerned. I am concerned. That's a valid concern. But then there's also people saying, let it play out for a little bit. Let's see what happens. Because sometimes a movement can start as one thing and get picked up by something else or someone else, and it actually becomes stronger and a valid. We obviously need something, right? We need something going on here. Who's going to do it? Who is going to lead us, y'all? What are we doing? What's the plan here? What's our plan? Good gracious, we need it. We do. I will tell you this. Here's something I'm going to be doing. Let me see if I can find it. I like being on my computer. Today I'm going to make crunchy tacos for supper and some rice. Thank you. Yes, it's for supper. It's for supper. Thank you. Okay, so the King Center, which is, I just thought of the other thing I wanted you to do, run by the family of Dr. Martin Luther King, or I think it was started by him. I don't know how much his family's involved, but they have training on, it's called Nonviolent 365. So these are nonviolent education and training. There is a cost, but they do have a self-paced learning online. If you are interested in learning about what nonviolence activism is, I highly encourage you to check this out at thekingcenter.org. I also encourage you to go follow Park Rose Permaculture. She's here on TikTok, and I believe she's on YT. Go follow her, because she's doing a series, or I believe she was going to do a series of videos talking about her nonviolence training. It's very important for you to understand what that is. It is not the same thing as passivism, so you need to understand what that is, and it very much is the way that many of us, especially those of us in spiritual leadership, really need to understand exactly the verbiage, the actions behind it, the theory behind it, and why you want to. Please don't fall into the trap they are trying to set. They are trying to get people to react voluntarily. What happened? What I miss? Violently, absolutely. There you go, violently. Gotcha. The other thing is, I have mentioned several times in my lives that preparing for what may come is important. And I know that some people will say that's reactionary or overreacting, but I'm a realist. I'm not an alarmist. I'm a realist. If I were alarmist, I wouldn't even be here talking to you. I would be out doing my thing and be gone, off the grid. But I'm not. I believe in community action. I believe this is as close as I can come to talking to people on a regular basis to help you get involved and prepared. And if you look at, here's what I'm concerned about. The fact that Trump's, not only his embarrassing speech to the military leaders, the military parade did not give him the appearance of a king that he wanted. So both times he's attempted to do something with the military that failed. I believe that there will be other action, because the Trump regime is trying to incite some kind of violent response to justify martial law. At that point, we are at risk of the things that we take for granted being available to us, whether it's safe water, electricity, gas, all those things. So in as much as you can afford or work with a cohort of people or your family or a mutual aid group, see how you, especially as the states that are going to be impacted by the winter, which is a lot of the United States. Do what you can to make sure that you have fresh water, some access to food, and that you can stay warm. You can go follow Peely and Petals, Sarah at Peely and Petals. Lynette, can you find her? I'm afraid my TikTok's just going to go off here if I do this. Nope, it didn't. Oh, okay, she didn't come up. Yes, it did. So it's, let me see if I can put this in. See that? Go follow her. You can go to her playlist. She talks to you about solar generators, how to store water safely. Those kinds of things. Nothing crazy, but just so you have ways to take care of yourself and to keep yourself warm if need be. That's the bare minimum of the things we should be doing to protect ourselves. So follow Park Rose Permaculture to learn about nonviolent training. Go to the drkinginstitute.org. No, I'm sorry, thekingcenter.org to learn about their nonviolent 365 training. Educate yourself on the Purple Revolution. I don't know if it's going to go anywhere, but if there are ways that we can contribute to the conversation so that the people who have kind of been on the forefront understand the importance of, thank you for the shares and the follows, can be on the forefront of changing the structure. It's not enough just to say, well, we'll work that out. There has to be some structure in place before you start to recruit people or invite people to the table. And so right now it looks like it's kind of imploding. I don't know if that's the best news for any of us, because I think many of us agree that we got to have a plan, y'all. What is it? Now, I will say, I also found, how many of you are following the buildersmovement.org? This is a movement that was started by Mark Cuban. Hold on, let me see who's in it. I think it was also the King family. This looks like a way to teach how to build community. And they're doing it through the 4 C's: creativity, curiosity, compassion, and courage. So using 4 sectors of society with political, educational, corporate, and technological, how do you bring people together to create cohesive movements that advances humanity and protects the most vulnerable? I haven't done a lot with this yet, but I did sign up for their newsletter. So it might be something where you might find your place. I was just read on that. Yeah. So you've heard about this, Jojo? Yeah. Steps have to be in place. Yes. I'm gonna put this. I don't think that TikTok likes it when I do this, so I'm gonna try to put. I'm just gonna do this. Just go look for that. Just go look for that. There's some good information. You'll also start to get texts from them or emails, and you can learn from there. There are some pretty big, powerful people who are involved in that movement. I believe, does anybody know anything about Adam Schiff's movement? Okay, so let's just recap where we are. Buildersmovement.org. Follow Peelies and Petals on TikTok. Follow Malynda Hale. Learn about the Purple Revolution. They're on TikTok. Just put in the hashtag. You're going to find all kinds of videos. Take notes. When I come back sometime next week. I may be traveling, so I don't know how often I'll come. But when I come back, we'll be able to talk more about it. But I'll be back as soon as I can. All right, are we winding down here? Are there any other questions? Anything else that we need to talk about? Is a psyop. I don't know what that means. I'm a boomer. Do I have to look up what psyop means? I'm just going to be honest. A military government designed to influence the emotions, motives, and reason of a target. I have heard that. I got you now. Thank you. I have heard that they are still connected to MAGA. Anybody else heard that? But there's no proof. I mean, I watch their videos and I'm a little like, wait, like I want to stop. Every video I have about 20 questions. Like, what does this mean? There just seems to be some guarded language. And it could be that if you give them the benefit of the doubt, yeah, maybe they just don't know. Maybe they're not comfortable being in leadership. Maybe they're waiting to have people take the lead, but based on what I'm seeing, that doesn't seem to be the case. It really seems like they see themselves as being in the forefront and wanting more people to come in to support them. And so, yeah, that's a little problematic. They are the sorry MAGAs. The question is, do we forgive? So, kind of like with Marjorie Taylor Greene, how can they be used? That's the question. If MAGA, if there are people who are MAGA and they're regretting their vote, how can they be used for the good of the whole? Hi Todd, how can they be used for the good of the whole? So I do believe if they want to help, but they haven't been in a place where they understand the harm that's been caused. But because, I heard one of them say something like, Trump hasn't delivered what he promised. What does that mean? Does it mean that he hasn't deported enough undocumented immigrants? Are you angry that not enough women's rights have been annihilated? Are you sorry that there aren't more Bibles in the classrooms? Are you afraid that Pete Hegseth hasn't moved fast enough to totally dehumanize the LGBTQI plus community, or kick out black men out of service? What did he not deliver on exactly? What has he not delivered on? The one thing I think that blindsided everybody are the tariffs. But if that's all you're concerned about, then where's going to be the intersection? Now, I will say this, and I'm not saying this from a place of like revolutionary, but I can't help but bring this to mind, okay? There had to be a way when the allies came together. Don't freak out. I'm going somewhere with this. It's like my grandma used to say, she's going to Canada by way of Mexico. So just give me a minute. Don't take this and clip it. I will come after you. When you have allies come together, you got to build a bridge high enough over the waters that you don't agree with to become a powerful force to deal with the deadly force. You can't sit down and agree on everything before you start action. But I will qualify that immediately by saying, as a white woman, that's really easy for me to say, because I'm high enough in that privileged Christian patriarchal structure that I have not experienced the harm that MAGA Christian beliefs and views have placed on the historically oppressed. So I'm not putting that out there as a a blanket statement that says that we should use my experience as the reason. I'm saying, though, that how do we create some kind of movement where those who are leaving MAGA can be used? Like I said, Marjorie Taylor Greene has a platform. Let her keep kicking dents into the MAGA structure, into the Republicans. She's embarrassing the heck out of them. She's talking about the things that they don't want to talk about. I mean, by now it's clear that Mike Johnson is delaying a vote on the Jeffrey Epstein files. The fact that Jeffrey Epstein is somehow involved in everything that Trump is doing up until today is mind-boggling. So if she can help with that, let her help with her using her voice, but she's not the leader in a movement. She can't be. She has caused more harm and created more damage. So how do unifying forces that come together for a common goal create leadership that isn't based on people who have caused harm? That is the rhetorical question. I've never been in this situation before. I don't know how you answer it. I don't know. I would love to be able to help. I don't know how. William, I'm not sure I know what you mean. My wife tells me that all the time. I don't know what that is. Maybe if we set goals for what we would like to see, maybe we can bridge a gap. I like that, Kelly. I don't feel qualified. How do you do that? Mary Elizabeth says, agree, offer people dignified off-ramps. Yeah. I mean, after allegedly being on Grindr, Mike Johnson will do that with the Epstein find. Yeah, so that kind of fizzled out, though, didn't it? That whole accusation. Somebody was going to release it. He never did he? I did see those videos, but I don't think anything ever got released. I think that kind of fizzled out, kind of like Anonymous. Where's Anonymous? What happened to Anonymous? I've been wanting them. Why don't they just get in here and release the files? But nothing's ever happened with that. Kelly says, right, I agree. They need to read. They need to read or be willing to listen. Wesley, you're late to go do something. I'm sure there's a Bible study waiting for you. He supposedly got through. Oh, well, I could see that. They work for Doge now. Who does, iShade? Let's see. Why can't those who regret their actions and votes say, let's join you for a greater good? Boy, that's a really good point, Claudia, because that's the whole point. That's the problem. Because that takes humility. Ego will always have your hands on the steering wheel. We just don't know it. Humility has to be invited. It's sitting here and it will accept your invitation to be front and forward, front and center of your life. But to do that, you have to recognize that you're not the smartest person in the room. And most of us grew up believing we were white saviors. That's the truth. We were the smartest people in the room. We deserved the largest platform. It's the truth. So it's very hard for us not to be in those positions unless we think now we can solve it this way, because we still see ourselves as we are the only ones who can solve it. We're the only ones. Trusting MTG would way too difficult. Totally, Todd. Because their whole identity is wrapped up in MAGA. Yeah, maybe we could have buses of educators, professors that are willing to go to rural America. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord, baby Jesus, protect that bus. Lord and baby Jesus, protect that bus. I don't know. Do you remember the Freedom Riders? Oh, those were courageous people. They did not end well. I'm not saying it can't happen. And I don't want to be negative. I love the ideas. This is how things happen. Yeah, Kelly, 100%. There's the number of people who are saying that violence is going to happen is growing every day. Every day. And I still look at the nonviolence resistance as hope. as a minister and as the people that for you I care for my family, that's what I hope for. But that very much is part of it. Let me see. I never believed I was the smartest because I wasn't treated like I was. I can understand. Many people were treated like that. I'm sorry that was your experience. Yeah, Mary Beth, that's a good point. I think some are embarrassed as they came out so hard as a Trump supporter. That's very, I wrote something on Threads and Substack. Let me go see if I can pull it up. I'm just going to keep talking. Are you guys okay if we stay here a little longer? You beautiful souls, if we stay a little longer. Let me find what I wrote. Ooh, I got some comments on that. Nobody ever sees my stuff over here. Why don't you guys go over and follow me there? I'd really appreciate it. I really love writing. I wrote the gaslighting. Nope, that's not what I wanted to read to you. It's this one. The Christians who have doubled down their support for Trump are about to have their day of reckoning, and they're not going to be okay. If it isn't evident now that Johnson is refusing to assemble the House because he knows a vote will succeed in releasing the Epstein files, it will become glaringly obvious very soon. If and hopefully when that vote eventually succeeds and the files are released, those Christians will be forced to reconcile their support of an S.A.er of children in the White House with their long-held stance that they are the party that cares about children. Their heads will spin as they are revealed to be the hypocrites they truly are, who can no longer hide behind Bible verses and their fake piety that they all cling to in their desperate attempt to appear morally and spiritually superior to the rest of us. I should make this a video, shouldn't I? That embarrassment will lead to one of 5 things. Number 1, white-hot rage, where they no longer hide that they are aligned with a P3DO if it protects their Christian white supremacy. Okay. Number 2, buy into and spew the rebranding that the entertainment industry of Fox News and Newsmax will lead. Number 3, slink away in embarrassment and delete everything that ever aligned with Trump's regime in hopes that it will soon be forgotten, yet still holding on to their facade of moral and spiritual superiority over others. History informs us on this. Research the quiet retreat of German Christians who supported Nazism. They had no accountability, no consequences, no repercussions. So history informs us of that. Number 4, I said one of 5 things and I only did 4. I got to pay attention better. And this will be a tiny percentage, but still significant. Those who are truly humbled and begin to awaken to the deception of their indoctrination, where cult-like tactics was used to manipulate their minds, emotions, and beliefs, that they must always obey the white Christian man in power, as he is ordained by God and the closest person on earth to that God. If you're in proximity to those who have never wavered in their support of the Trump regime, please take care and proceed accordingly, depending on their expected behavior. One thing for sure, they are not going to be okay. Now, I based that simply on what I was seeing. I got to go see. I may have accidentally left something. I copied this from Threads, and I thought I had 5 things. I don't know what I did. I'll figure it out and work it out. Let me see. Ooh, I hit over 37,000 over at Threads today. Look at that. Let's see. I'm going to go see what I did. No, I only did 4, but I said 1 of 5. So yeah, they're not going to be okay. And back to what Mary Beth was saying, they're going to do one of those things. And the very dangerous thing they'll do is even become more just white hot rage. Yes. My husband just came and asked if I was on live. So they'll do the white hot rage, or they'll slink away and hope that nothing happens, because history informs us that that's exactly what they'll do. But they still hold on to that ideology in hopes that somewhere in their lifetime they'll get to bring it back out again and be proud of it and vote against human rights, annihilation of human rights. he asked you if you're alive, just like TikTok did. What happened? I think it depends on us YT women, really. Kelly, that's a really good place. I think depends on us YT women, really. We need to activate and be brave like civil rights activists. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, I'm going to get caught up in the comments. I always feel like where we can follow you on other platforms. Thank you. I really do appreciate that, especially because I think we're in the final days. I don't know what's going to happen. This app has been all over the place, and I have so enjoyed. I mean, TikTok has just changed my life in so many ways. And it's certainly the TikTok of 2025 is not the TikTok of 2020. And we've all had to endure the changes here, but very soon it will become Trump Social 2.0. And there is the MAGA people are already rejoicing that our voices are going to be silenced and our platforms are going to go away. So anything where you can follow us, you can go find the places, and I'm pretty active on all of them, and I'll get more active there. When you were on the other live, TikTok asked you if you were still here. A joke, sorry. Okay, gotcha. It's crazy because I could see the little hearts going and I could see your comments, but I didn't want to look over there because I'm very much ADD, easily distracted at any squirrel that comes across you probably can tell a little bit. And I saw that and I thought, oh, if I don't take care of that, it's going to be bad. No, Liz, I have not heard of that. What is it? It will be horrible soon, sadly. Yeah. And I've already said that if they're going to give us another platform and we have to start over, I'm certainly not doing that. I'll probably go protect my username if I can. They may not even give us a chance to do that. But if not, then yeah, I get pretty saucy over on Threads, Reen. I get saucy. Is it? I don't know what Sora is. I'll have to go check it out. I don't know what that is. So finishing up that conversation, and I'm almost at 2 hours, and then I'm gonna have to call it a day. I say we really need to cut back spending and working so we can't feed the machine. Blue Sky Turtle. I agree with you. But were you here when I said what I said to Malynda? And I'm not, okay, for all you men that are here, I'm not discounting you at all. At all. Obviously, we need everybody. But women are critical to any change that happens. If you look at the French Revolution, and while there was many reasons that the escalation started to happen, when the price of bread became so unaffordable that women could not feed their children, the uprising started. When you look at the boycott that changed the lives of black people in the buses, that took what, a year and a half, or was it longer than that? Now I feel embarrassing. I always say, like, I don't keep account numbers or things like that in my head if I can go look it up. Probably somebody's already telling me. 381 days. 381 days. People committed to carpooling, to not riding the bus. They had to bring the system to its knees because so many people, they were reliant upon the income of black people, the very people that they were dehumanizing. That system was not viable without black people. So the ordinances were changed so that their dignity was restored in a way that it never had been before in that city. It's those kinds of movements. So when you go listen to, do your education on the Purple Revolution, and you listen to the videos from black people, you will see that they're offering suggestions on how to create movements, how to create action, how to build activism. Because they do it. They've done it. It's in their ancestral moments, because they've had to do it for generations. It's sometimes it's ridiculous when people say that there is no racism in America at this point in time, when clearly there is, especially if it's a white voice who is saying that, when all you have to do is look at this country's history to understand that it has never gone away. It has always been here. Not anyone who looks like me ever had to worry about being harassed, assaulted, walking down the street in broad daylight by a group of white boys. Never had to worry about your education system being stunted because of the color of your skin. Never had to worry that your resume would get buried once, if their education, you went to a historically black college, that it went to a different pile. Not one. Never had to have the conversation with your children that said, here's what you do when you're going to be confronted by the police. Because they knew what the chances were. The statistics tell you what's going to happen to a black man who gets arrested in our system. The info on activism, Reen, let's see, I'm not sure exactly. I told you about the King Center. The kingcenter.org has nonviolence 365 training. Perma Rose Park Culture. She's here on TikTok. She has she's doing videos discussing her training that she went to this past weekend. The Builders Movement.org is a group that was started. One of the founders is Mark Cuban, and I believe some of the Dr. King's family started this movement to help people learn to create community around curiosity, compassion, courage, and creativity, using this infrastructure of our systems of political, educational, corporate, and technological structures, so that you have a place that's cohesive, that centers the human need. So I think that's really interesting. Thank you, Dog, for Park Rose's username. I would love to start a round table, maybe with guidelines, and can keep a productive conversation. Kelly, I love that. I will. Please keep me in the loop. Lynette can give you my an email address. I can't promise that how actively involved I can be, but I would certainly like to know what you're doing. I hope my faith in Mark Cuban doesn't become a problem. I'm Pusha. I don't see that. Even though people will tell you that when it comes to protecting yourself, there is an element of protection that does require some kind of safety that you may not be comfortable with. Somebody said, Moon Sky, thank you. Thank you so much. You've all been so kind today. I'm going to start to wrap it up. Would you all like me to do my blessing? The last couple of days that I've been on live, I've given you a blessing, and I think most of you have enjoyed it. But I'm not going to do it if you're just like, oh gosh, she's preaching again. Lord knows, help that woman. Who thinks she can great to hate? Black at you! I did not know you were here. How long have you been here? Okay, now I'm not doing much with guests right now. Y'all can see that because I'm not here. I don't ever know how long I'm going to be here. It depends on the circumstances surrounding my personal life. But I want to have you up as a guest. I'd love to do that. My daughter is reading your book right now, and it's wonderful. If you're not following Black at You, please do so and see their book. I don't know. My daughter has it. I don't have it. I'm going to go look it up. I think it is on Amazon, right? I'm going to go. I'm just getting the title. I'm not telling you to order it there. Let's go find it where all books are sold. Sleeping with the Ancestors. right? Is that the name? Yes, here it is. Sleeping with the Ancestors, How I Followed the Footprints of Slavery, a book by Joseph McGill. Please go read that book. Said I missed the live. Nate, I'll be back, I promise. And this entire recording will go on YT, so you can see it. Sleeping with the Ancestors, a wonderful book. You'll feel like you're there. The writing is magnificent. And follow Black at You. They are there. They are here on TikTok, and their videos are educational and informational. So please do so. All right, beautiful souls, let's get this blessing. I need to go feed a dog, and it's time for supper. Yes, it's supper. Don't forget. It's been an honor, such an honor to be with all of you today, and I'll be back as soon as I can. Thank you, Nurse. Thank you, Jax. All right, here we go. As we wrap up today, remember that deconstructing isn't just about leaving behind what no longer serves you. It's about the brave work of untangling your mind from what you were taught so you can live into your truest self. Every time you question, every time you choose compassion over fear, you are becoming part of the healing this world so desperately needs. Change doesn't only happen in big moments. It happens in the daily choices of ordinary people committed to living with courage and integrity. And now a blessing for your road and for the weekend. May you carry peace into the place of chaos. May you carry courage into the place of fear. May you carry love in the places that feel forgotten. And may you have the strength to become the advocate you are preparing yourself to be, lending your voice and your resources where you can. Go gently, go boldly, and know that you are not alone. And whatever you do, don't ever, ever give up hope. Remember, the arc of the moral universe, it does bend towards justice, but it only bends when we grab it and we bend it. I do believe as a humanity, we are moving and awakening to a higher level of consciousness that is driven by compassion and empathy and kindness. And it's only those of us who are awakened when we decide that we will ensure that that is our future, we can create it. I believe that. Now go forth and have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. I will see you soon. I'm so honored to be in this space with you. Bye for now.